I said 9 games, including one about to kick off in sunshiny Miami. Can Tyreek Hill and the Dolphins sweep the Patriots? Beat them in Foxborough back in September. That team they faced that day, though, Christian Gonzalez, Matthew Judon, was a lot different than the one they are going to face today. This team is different today because we all are all back together again. Happy Halloween. Hope you had a safe and a fun one. Hope you got your tricking and your treating and everything done last night. This is NFL Game Day Preview. I don't know what I just said. My name is Andrew Siciliano. That down there is Cynthia Freeland. This is Steve Weich, Michael F. Florio, and Coach Leslie Frazier set to join us shortly. Hi, guys.
Hello. Welcome back. We missed you.
It's good to be here.
Maybe, are the Browns not going to win if you're not there?
I don't know that. By the way, the Browns have not won in Seattle since 1989.
But they need you.
Bernie Kosar pictured with Taylor Swift last week. 1989. Bernie was the quarterback in '89. See what we did there?
Yeah, no degrees of separation.
We're going to tie this all together coming up in the next hour. We're happy that you are here. Here is who is up and who is down today. The actives and the inactives. Notably here when it comes to the running backs, Raheem Mostert is active. Darren Waller. And when it comes to the tight ends, active. The early list, there are some question marks late, however. We'll get to those coming up shortly. Let's get to the trade deadline, however, with our NFL Network insider, Mike Garafolo, joining us here. Mike, happy Halloween to you. We are 51 hours away now from the trade deadline, coming up 4 Eastern time on Tuesday. Is Derrick Henry going to be a Titan come Tuesday?
We've had a little bit of action already, Andrew, with some of the trades. The Eagles trading for Kevin Byard, among a few other moves. But it doesn't sound like this is going to be as active as we saw last year when it comes to the trading deadline. But there are the big names that we're looking at, Derrick Henry being foremost among them. And as we have told you this morning, the Titans have received inquiries and offers for Derrick Henry, but they have made it clear they are not just going to give him away. They're not just selling off parts right now, despite trading Byard to Philly. This is something where they're going to have to be blown away with an offer. So as it pertains to Henry and his workload today, sounds like everything should be normal, not like they're going to hold him back. Kind of like you see the starting pitcher come out of a game early, he's about to be traded before the MLB trade deadline. As for one other big name that I think that there is a decent chance of moving, Montez Sweat with the Washington Commanders. They've had so many first-round picks up front on that defensive line. You can only pay so many of them. They've got him and Chase Young up after this upcoming season. They do have an offer for Sweat on the table. We shall see if Sweat winds up moving before Tuesday.
All right, big one today really for the Commanders here. They almost beat the Eagles last time they faced them. If they win today, maybe you view this season a little bit differently. If they lose today, who knows? I mentioned the late game actives and inactives. What's going on with Patrick Mahomes? The Chiefs are in Denver. It's snowing, by the way, Mike.
Yes, Patrick Mahomes dealing with the flu, we are told. He's been dealing with it for a couple of days now. He's doing better than he was yesterday, but still added to the injury report for the Kansas City Chiefs, but doesn't have an injury designation, so an indication that he will play despite those flu-like symptoms. The team has to update things. Remember, we were talking about whether the Falcons should have done that for Bijan Robinson last week. The Chiefs doing it in this case, but Mahomes expected to go. Brock Purdy, meanwhile, the San Francisco 49ers quarterback, was officially cleared of concussion protocol on Saturday, has no injury designation for this game. So Purdy, despite suffering that concussion on a short week, was able to work through the protocol, get himself cleared. He will start for the 49ers, and he did get work in practice as he was progressing through that protocol, Andrew.
Okay, and they faced the Bengals in a late game. That was fast because, remember, the Niners played Monday night. They say that Purdy didn't feel well when he got home late Monday night, which was really Tuesday morning, and then he cleared concussion protocol on Saturday. Mike Garafolo, thank you, sir, our NFL Network insider. I mentioned the snow in Denver. How about some rain in Pittsburgh, where we got T.J. Watt and the Steelers getting ready to face the Jacksonville Jaguars. Watt, huge interception with sleeves on last week when the Steelers beat the Rams here in Los Angeles. How bad is the rain? How is it affecting James Palmer's hair? Live to Pittsburgh. James, how are you holding up, buddy?
I'm really roughing it under this giant tent, Andrew. We are perfectly fine on the sidelines here at Heinz Field. I will tell you this. The rain has been off and on in a sense. It's come down hard at times, and then it's lightening up like right now. But it is having a chance of that type of rain throughout the course of this game. And to me, that leads to protecting the football, right? And these are two defenses that are very good at forcing turnovers. Jacksonville, number 1 in the NFL. The Steelers tied for 4th in terms of forcing turnovers. I've talked to players from both teams. They said because of those defenses and their skill set of doing that, there's been an added emphasis throughout the week in terms of protecting the football. So I've had my eye on, balls slipping out of guys' hands throughout pregame. It happens a little bit. But what I like the most about this turnover conversation, guys, is the name Bob Sutton, senior defensive assistant for Doug Peterson's staff in Jacksonville. 50 years of coaching, and his main focus in that building is takeaways. I talked to linebacker Devin Lloyd, who told me anytime you see Sut, it is going to be about takeaways. He walked by me on this sideline about an hour ago and mentioned takeaways to me. He texts every member at 7 a.m. on the dot of this Jaguars defense something about takeaways, and it has worked with the Jacksonville Jaguars taking the football away. We'll see if they can do it with Kenny Pickett in these conditions.
All right, well, they have not yet taken away, Cynthia, the knee brace there. We see Trevor Lawrence wearing that brace on his left knee. Is he going to get Calvin Ridley going today?
Well, the rain does put a damper on things. However, this is a game that sets up really well for Calvin Ridley to be the main focus of this offense because of the way the Steelers' corners, I say this word very specifically, play. That actually really gives the advantage to Ridley, who is one of, if not the most precise route runners, extremely strong hands. This is an opportunity for him to really shine. We obviously see Trevor Lawrence spreading the ball around quite a bit, but in this matchup, based on the forecast matchups of who the cornerback is, it is advantage Ridley.
Yeah, that's a really good point because last week against the Rams, we saw Patrick Peterson, a corner, move all over the place. Joey Porter Jr., James, get a few more snaps. But a player I think is going to have a huge impact for the Steelers today in that secondary is Minkah Fitzpatrick. He has 43 tackles over the past 4 games. I mean, he is very much involved in the run game. Bang. You see him coming in here and making 39.
Yeah, sound effects.
I mean, he truly is an in-the-frame player. He is every frame you look at in every game. 39 is in it. And with the way the Jags will use tight end Evan Ingram, the way they use Travis Etienne out of the backfield in the run and pass game, Fitzpatrick, who to me is playing as well as any safety in the NFL, is going to be heavily involved in slowing down this offense.
Steve, he really is. And when you look at the 2 keys to this Jaguars offense and talking to people on the sideline, they'll say Travis Etienne maybe is the guy that stirs this entire thing as an offense. He's one of the best running backs in all of football. Actually has more yards this season than the Steelers have as a team. Yes, he's played 1 more game, but it's how Minkah Fitzpatrick plays up towards the box, how they play what Travis Etienne does out in the flat, what you mentioned, Evan Ingram, all of that playing off of what Cynthia was saying with Calvin Ridley. The way defenses have been putting an emphasis on him, it has had lighter boxes at times. The ability for Trevor Lawrence to put the football in some other places outside of Ridley. And you mentioned Minkah Fitzpatrick. The last point is this. Joey Porter Jr., you mentioned more snaps. Steve, I'm told he's going to have even more in this one. And it is not because Levi Wallace is out. It is because I'm told Mike Tomlin says he has earned them. So we're going to see him on the field much more this afternoon against the Jaguars.
Interesting. If the playoffs were to start today, they don't. We'd be in January. But if the playoffs were to start today, this would be a playoff matchup. Wild card weekend. The game would be in Jacksonville, but it would be the Steelers and the Jaguars. James Palmer. Thank you, James. In a rainy Pittsburgh. Is that man a commander come Tuesday? That is Chase Young. They didn't pick up the 5th-year option. Will he be moved? Will Montez Sweat be moved? Will Jacoby Brissett be moved? We are moved now. Go to this one. FedEx Field, just outside our nation's capital. For the Commanders and the Eagles, round 2. Hi there, Sherry Burris. No quarterback has been hit more, pressured more, sacked more than Sam Howell. How on earth are they going to protect that kid today?
Man, you got to hope they have a lot of laundry detergent back there to get all those grass stains out of Sam Howell's jersey after a game. He's been sacked 40 times, you guys. That's 12 more than the next QB, and on track to set that sack record in a season. So in order to better protect his quarterback this week, Ron Rivera said they might make some moves on that offensive line. So we're going to wait to see who is out there trying to protect their quarterback, Sam Howell. But again, this Eagles defense is going to give them a run for their money. Last game back in week 4, the Eagles defense sacked Sam Howell 5 times. Now here in week 8, they are 3rd in the league in sacks, so it's going to be a long day for this offensive line, but they're going to have a strong emphasis on keeping Sam Howell upright, guys.
This is such a fascinating game here, Cynthia. The Commanders are 3-4. Look, they should have beaten the Eagles last time in Philadelphia. Ron Rivera goes for 2 at the end of the game. Maybe they win. But if they win today, they're 4-4. 4-4 at the trade deadline feels a lot different than 3-5.
It sure does, but you still have a lot of the season left. And when you have all of those contracts coming due, Mike G talked about it. The defensive line is all first rounders, and when they don't pick up Chase Young's option, that times Montez Sweat and Chase Young up at the same time. These are high-priced commodities. Perhaps it would be smarter for them right now to think, what can I get for either one of them? You heard that there's an offer on the table for Montez Sweat. Great. If I were anyone in the business operations there, I would be calling and be like, that's not true. Whether or not it is, be like, what about Chase Young? Anyone want him? Like, let's deal. See what you can get for like the very best situation, because they've got a lot of work to do. They're not 1 or 2 players away. This is a good defense, but it's not a great prolific defense that can carry a lackluster O-line and quarterback. You need to revamp kind of a little more than just the one area.
Yeah, and with, new ownership there, and depending on how the season works out, you don't even know if these coaches are going to be the ones making the decision on personnel, so this is why you don't want to tie up the books. But speaking of trade deadlines, though, Cynthia, the Eagles, Kevin Byard, Howie Roseman goes out and trades for the veteran safety to help out this defense. But I also want to look at this game because we talked about how close it was the last time they played. And the Eagles, and speaking with Senator Jason Kelsey on the NFL Report earlier this week.
Shameless, go ahead. Well done.
Yes. He talked about their red zone issues. They were struggling coming into last week's game with the Dolphins. They go 4 of 6 scoring touchdowns in the red zone. He said he thinks they are turning a corner finally. And this is the quarterback, Jalen Hurts, not being 100%. We know that knee, he's got a brace on it. But they think they're finally doing some things under new OC Brian Johnson to cure some of their red zone issues. So if that happens to play out again today in Washington, this is where everyone really needs to be on high alert for the Eagles turning a corner, getting their red zone issues, and then getting a safety like Kevin Byard to really help out on defense where they've had some injuries in that secondary. And, of course, they lost Chauncey Gardner-Johnson this offseason.
Yeah, guys, and talking to Nick Sirianni, he even mentioned the impact that Kevin Byard is having. He's only been in the building about a week, so he's still getting to know him, but he talked about his energy and just how much of an impact he has on this team, that he's only been here for just a couple of days. He's one of the top safeties in this league, and again, talking to Fletcher Cox this week, I asked him about his impact also, and he said the fact that he can just come in and have such a great week at practice, learn the culture of this team, and adding to what could be a really incredible secondary, getting Byard in there, he actually makes the schematics a little bit different. The phrase Fletcher Cox used was they can throw curveballs at the other offenses, and it was just a phone call. You could kind of hear the excitement in his voice. So, again, they're making a pretty strong move here halfway through the season.
Sherry talking to Nick Sirianni on NFL Game Day morning over on the network, doing double duty today as the Commanders are head to toe in Burgundy behind you. Thank you, Sherry Burrs, live there in Washington. By the way, you could follow that game on Game Center coming up here on the NFL channel.
Woo-hoo.
All the games coming up when we're done. Cynthia, thank you.
Yeah, me and Sherry both. We're both wearing the same dress. It's all black dress day here on Game Day morning and Game Day preview. Just saying.
It's all black everything. Coming up, we're going to go to Dallas. Matthew Stafford, hometown kid, rooting for the Rangers, back in town to beat the Cowboys. We are live with James Slater straight ahead. NFL Game Day preview. Sure. Yeah. You're watching NFL Game Day Preview on the NFL channel. You are looking at Dak Prescott. The Cowboys have the longest home winning streak in the NFL. It is 10. Oh, by the way, number 2, anybody? Who's got number 2? Anybody?
Who does number 2 work for?
Who's number 2? No, that was funny, Steve. No, it's the 49ers with 7. Anyway, Cowboys and Rams playing the Cowboys. Only Jane Slater, their second home game of October in comparison. The Rangers across the parking lot have played 6 home games in October. That is just bonkers. Hi there, Jane. What's the situation?
Hi.
Hey, with Tyron Smith today in that O-line.
Okay, this is why I love live TV, because I'm looking over my shoulder and I see Tyron Smith. He's obviously not dressed out. He has been ruled inactive. And I want to go ask him, but unfortunately I don't have a remote mic. So here's what I can tell you. This decision
Call
was
him
made
over, Jane.
right
See if he'll
before
come
inactives
over.
were supposed to come out. Tyron, get over here. This decision was made right before the inactives came out. He ended up on the injury report this week. When I touched base with the team source, they told me that they didn't think it was going to be a big deal and that he was fine. I talked to someone else literally right before we came on air, and I said, what happened? They said he wanted to play, he was ready to go, but I've got 2 sources tell me it's this neck stinger, and for whatever reason, Tyron Smith isn't going to play today. Not exactly encouraging news if you're Dak Prescott. You've got Aaron Donald on the other side of the line.
Yeah, not encouraging. On the flip side of that, not encouraging for the Rams as well, Coach. Rob Havenstein, their right tackle, is down. Likely Joe Noteboom at right tackle as this Rams offense tries to get something going. They just stalled out last week in the 4th quarter.
They did. They had some opportunities to win that game, and I had a chance to visit their facility early in the week and talk to Raheem Mars a little bit. Those guys are really upset with themselves at not being able to finish that game. But today they have a golden opportunity to get to 500, and it's probably going to take their ability to be able to run the football. That's going to be extremely important to slow down this pass rush of the Dallas Cowboys. And hopefully Royce Freeman can pick up where he left off last week. He rushed for 66 yards. They went over 100 yards. But one of the keys will be, can Matthew Stafford, man, find a way? And you just mentioned their offensive line and some of the chess pieces that are going to be moved around. But one of the things that Matthew has struggled with is throwing the football under pressure. And today, he's going to be facing a defense that leads the league in quarterback pressures. So it's going to be important that he doesn't make that fatal mistake that he's made at times under pressure. So we need him to come around and play at a high level throughout.
Yeah, and Coach, one of the reasons why he faces pressure is the Rams do not have a great quick passing game, which is what they're going to need against Micah Parsons today. Andrew, you mentioned Rob Havenstein, the rock-solid right tackle, the side where Micah Parsons usually plays. He's out. Joe Noteboom over there, they are going to load up. You're going to see Dan Quinn probably put 2 pass rushers, maybe even 2 edge guys over Noteboom to make them make some decisions. The Rams will probably line up a tight end there, whether it be Tyler Higbee, whatever, try to chip. But Micah Parsons is going to be moved all over the place by Dan Quinn to get one-on-one matchups because they know they're going to try to take advantage of Noteboom. He could be the guy putting all kinds of pressure on Matthew Stafford. So that quick passing game that they don't like to use, they better use it today because Micah Parsons, number 11, is going to be all over Matthew Stafford.
And look, they've got plenty of threats. I caught up with Puka Nacua, who I know you're very high on, Steve, this week. And you know, he just talked about having Cooper Kupp out there and not even talking about Tutu Atwell. They can really stress defenses, and this defense is a little stressed, Steve, when you consider the fact they lost Leighton Vander Esch, they lost Trayvon Diggs at the beginning of the year. Now Deron Bland has done a really great job this year with his interceptions. Marquise Bell, they've been able to move him into that linebacker role and help them out a little bit. But yeah, it's still adjusting a little bit, this defense, in the absence of some key losses on that side of the ball. That's why Dan Quinn is really proving his worth here in Dallas with some of the key adjustments that he's been making.
Dan Quinn and the Cowboys, who when last we saw them got only 1 sack, but it was a huge sack on a Monday night on the final drive of the game against the Chargers in the building next to us from Micah Parsons. Jane Slater, thank you live in Dallas for the rare noon kick there. Cowboys and the Rams. That's Mac Jones in Miami. Second time we get the Patriots and the Dolphins this year. First one in Foxborough, won by the Dolphins. This one, first time we see Jalen Ramsey in a Dolphins uniform. We see Cam Wolfe live on the field here, live on NFL Game Day Preview. Pretty quick turnaround here, Cam. I don't know that anyone expected Jalen Ramsey back 94 days after that initial injury.
It's incredible, Andrew, and I just saw Jalen Ramsey come out to the field for the first time about 10 minutes ago. He's warming up with his Dolphins DBs, doing his back pedal, doing his karaoke. And you see that number 5 and these aqua throwbacks, and it brings back the picture that Dolphins fans got so excited for when Miami traded for him in the offseason. You mentioned 94 days from that meniscus surgery. Let's put this in perspective. The Dolphins thought that he would be back at the earliest, middle of December. He is back late October. Not only did he beat that timeline, he destroyed it. And he's looked incredible in practice this week. Nick Needham told us that he ran 22 miles per hour in his sprints. Tua talked about how he mirrors these fast receivers. He looks like Jalen Ramsey. And Mike McDaniel also told me his transition back will be quicker than most folks coming from serious injuries because of his comfort in Vic Fangio's scheme. Now, the Dolphins will have to do it today without Javon Holland and Xavier Howard, so a little bit more on Ramsey. But the Dolphins are really getting healthier at the right time.
Jalen Ramsey played in a similar scheme, certainly under Brandon Staley when the Rams first got him a couple of years ago. Coach, this Dolphins defense needs Jalen Ramsey because they have not played their best game. Don't know if it's their best test today against a team scoring only 14 points a game, but it helps.
No doubt about it. He's a great piece to have back, a guy in the secondary who can really shut down the opponent's top receiver. But this Dolphins defense, for me, has really struggled, Andrew, in a ton of areas. One being the run game, being able to defend the run on a consistent basis, and being able to get off a block, shed blocks, and then make tackles. They don't consistently do that, and I know it's the first year in the scheme, and that has a little bit to do with it. Right now, they're like 18th in the league on third down. They really struggle in that area as well. And in order for Miami to reach their goal of getting to the Super Bowl, their defense is going to have to play better down the stretch as they get more comfortable in this new system. So that's going to be important to see how much Jalen adds to their scheme over the course of this day.
Yeah, and Jalen Ramsey's going to play in that slot, right? That's where he's going to be. So you're probably going to see him closer to the box today because of the Patriots' lack of passing threat. But his physicality is really going to help. And I want to flip it over to New England because we saw them take advantage of some Buffalo miscues last week. And part of what, when we saw the Dolphins lose to Philadelphia last week, the Eagles really stuffed that run game. And you are going to see Bill Belichick really line up with kind of that wide 9 look, coach, and really try to stop that stretch zone run scheme. If they do that, that's something that really discombobulated the Dolphins offense because they'd like to do some run action type of stuff. So we'll just see if this Patriots defense can bail them out once again. And as Andrew mentioned, even if they do, can the Patriots score more than 14 points? Because they're going to have to do that.
Yeah.
I love the point you made about the Patriots defense because people forget when they played in week 2, the Patriots held Tyreek Hill to 40 yards, his lowest total of the season. They had a lot of 3 safeties defense. They played really good leverage with their cornerbacks, and so they seem to play this Dolphins team well. If this Dolphins team does not show up, then they can be beat. And it's interesting, Mike McDaniel told them this week, the narrative's going to be about you, that you can't win the big game until you do it. But he stressed to them, do not overlook this Patriots team. If you do, you can get exposed.
Cam, real quick, we've seen Jalen Ramsey and Tyreek Hill cut up their locks and get the fade taper. Could there be a Samson effect with those two by cutting off the long hair?
Wow. Going old school there.
Yeah, man, a new look, new change, right? There's nothing like a fresh fade, especially with these aqua uniforms. I think it makes him faster. Tyreek Hill gets fined for no socks. I think he's getting another advantage by cutting his hair. Maybe that'll make him a little tick faster.
As the Dolphins go old school with the uniforms, Steve Wyche goes Old Testament.
Yes.
With the reference.
We do.
Cam Wolf, thank you. Live in Miami, Tyreek Hill, 98 yards away from 1,008 games. 1,008 games. That hasn't been done since 1961. You are playing Tyreek Hill in fantasy. Are you playing Cooper Kupp in fantasy? Of course you are, right? I think. Maybe. Trick or treat. Michael F. Florio with who to play and who to avoid. Coming up.
You've been old school with a 12-game season, 1960.
I know. You are watching NFL Game Day Preview. You are looking at a whole bunch of Halloween costumes. We don't know who Freddy Krueger is, by the way. Like, literally, we don't know who that is. Like, don't know who's under the mask. It's if you know who's under the mask there, walking into the Jets-Giants game as Freddy Krueger, please let us know. Okay? Cool. I do know that this guy right here on NFL Game Day Preview on the NFL channel is Michael F. Florio from NFL Fantasy Live and the Fantasy Show here on the NFL channel. Good to see you, Florio.
Good to see you.
All right, let's do the players that must be in your lineup today. Your must-start quarterback is, sir.
In the battle of the top 2 quarterbacks drafted in this past NFL draft, give me C.J. Stroud. I think that he is someone that you very comfortably want to get into your starting lineup this week. I know he's coming off the bye. Do not forget how well he has been playing. Multiple passing touchdowns in 4 of his last 5 with over 20 fantasy points in 3 of them. And I really like this matchup because the Panthers run a lot of zone, especially a lot of cover 3, and Stroud has put up numbers against zone, against cover 3, against all of that, and I think he's going to have a little something to prove today. Like, you wanted to take this other guy over me? This is what you're missing out on.
The Panthers also cannot stop the run, so maybe this is the week that Dameon Pierce gets going. As someone that has Dameon Pierce in his lineup, please, may this be the week. Dameon Pierce, however, is not your must-start running back.
No, he is a running back that I have as a start this week, but my must-start is Breece Hall. Ever since the Jets have taken him off the snap count, he has just been electric for real life and for fantasy. He's been averaging over 24 fantasy points per game since he came off the snap count. The Giants allowed the 2nd most rushing yards and 3rd most rushing touchdowns to running backs, and I don't think this is a game where you have to worry about game script or anything like that. So a whole bunch of touches going to the very electric Breece Hall, who is always a threat to take it the distance. Yeah, you want to play this
whole bunch.
A whole bunch.
I see what you did there. And look, the trade deadline is coming up on Tuesday. Maybe, just maybe, the Jets put out Dalvin Cook to showcase him, or maybe not. Must-start wide receiver today is
someone that we both like to play in our fantasy lineup, Zay Flowers. You have to go and get the rookie into your starting lineup this week. First of all, he's given you over double-digit fantasy points in all but 1 game this year, so the floor is so safe. But I think this is an upside week for Zay Flowers. He gets the Cardinals, who run zone coverage 80% of the time. Zay Flowers this year, 88% of his yards and his lone touchdown has come against zone coverage. And this is a game where, I mean, Lamar Jackson has been on fire as of late. I think he's going to keep airing the ball out. Good things are going to happen with your rookie wide receiver. I think he could get his first 100-yard game this week.
Oh, wow, they could have dropped 50 last week on the Lions if they truly wanted to. They eventually took their foot off the gas in the 4th quarter. So I looked at the rundown earlier, and I thought, wait, is this from a couple of weeks ago? No. Here we go again. The big name to avoid is Dak Prescott. Why?
Cowboys fans are going to hate me this season, but the issue is that Dak Prescott, because their defense is so great and Tony Pollard and their run game has been so strong, they're not asking Dak Prescott to do as much as normal. And I know the last time we saw him, he finished as the QB1 in fantasy football, but it was because he ran for 40 yards and a touchdown. That's 10 points off of his legs. In every other game this year, his rushing numbers have given you under 3 fantasy points, plus 1 game this year with multiple passing touchdowns. He has not reached 275 passing yards, and the Rams are middle of the pack against the quarterback, so with no buys this week, I think you probably have a better quarterback option.
If you want expert analysis like this all week, you can watch on the NFL channel, the Fantasy Show with Florio. You can watch also NFL Fantasy Live on NFL Network. I mean, there's every day a way to get Michael Florio. Will you stick around for this as well? Let's do Who Scores, presented by DraftKings. How about that? Okay, Florio, let's do it. We're going to do a same-game parlay here with, you mentioned Zay Flowers, the Ravens and the Arizona Cardinals. This game is in Arizona. It's beautiful weather. We got Lamar. We got Mark Andrews. We got the Cardinals here as well. Same-game parlay. This is going to be plus 430. So let's just ask you, who scores in this one? Remember, there's no Kyler Murray. He's not yet ready to get on the field maybe next week against Cleveland.
Look, I just told you I love Zay Flowers. I think he scores this week, but a bonus one, Mark Andrews, because he is one of the top 2 tight ends walking the planet right now. He leads all tight ends with 5 touchdowns this year. He leads the Ravens in end zone targets. He is the 3rd most at the tight end position. And I know on the year, the Cardinals have been kind of stingy to tight ends. They haven't played one like Mark Andrews. He is their biggest test to date.
All right, Mark Andrews, who scores today? I want one more game because this one is going to be fun. I know at home you've been asking, when are we going to get a snow game? Denver today is where we get the snow game. It might not be a blizzard, but like 6 to 8 inches fell yesterday. Snow all over the stadium. They have the tarp on the field now. So who scores in this one? The Chiefs and the Broncos. Keep in mind, Patrick Mahomes has the flu, and the Chiefs have beaten the Broncos 16 consecutive. That's not a typo. 16 in a row.
Isaiah Pacheco is going to score in this one. Why? Because the Denver Broncos struggle mightily against running backs. He has a touchdown in 4 of his last 5 games, and now he gets the Broncos, who've allowed the 3rd most rushing touchdowns and the most receiving touchdowns to to running backs. They're also top 3 in rushing yards, catches, receiving yards. They struggle mightily against the running back position, and with Patrick Mahomes sick, I think we get maybe an added bit of running, and it's going to be fun watching Pacheco run in that snow because he has angry feet. I always say he runs like he's angry at the grass.
Angry at the ground.
Seeing his footprint in the snow is going to be hilarious.
He will be a little miniature snowplow today in Denver. Best part about snow games, sitting on the couch, nice and warm at home, watching other people be cold at the snow game. Thank you, Michael F. Florio. That is Who Scores, everybody. Presented by DraftKings. Don't forget, on DraftKings Sportsbook, this season, new customers can bet $5 and pocket $200 in bonus bets instantly. Plus, all customers can get a no-sweat same-game parlay every day. Download the app and use the promo code GAME when you sign up. DraftKings Sportsbook, the crown is yours. Says in my rundown here, bump famous football player. We are choosing A.J. Brown as today's famous football player. 5 consecutive 125-yard or more performances. Is that good? Is that why he's famous? You're watching NFL Game Day Preview.
Okay, running out of superlatives. 9 tackles, 2 sacks, 1 tackle for loss, 1 PBU, and a blocked kick.
That's player of the month right there. That's player of the month. Hey, Hey, man, this for all of us. And I said this to the D-line, but no chasing history. We're making history. Let's keep doing what we're doing. Browns on 3. 1, 2, 3. Browns.
Had 2 strip sacks and he blocked a field goal last week. And today, the Browns are in Seattle, where the Seahawks are kicking it old school. Look at those great uniforms.
Cortez Kennedy's.
Yeah, that's going to be what Bobby Wagner is going to be wearing. And they redid the field at Lumen as well with the old logo.
Kingdom? Kingdom style?
Steve, it looks great. It looks right. Steve Weich, Leslie Frazier. Hi, everybody. I'm Andrew Siciliano. You're watching NFL Game Day Preview. This is a really interesting game here, Coach. You got the Browns, you got the Seahawks. Browns haven't won out there since 1989. Granted, they don't go there very often. Seahawks O-line a little bit banged up. Pete wants to run the football. What do you see?
How do you keep Miles from wrecking the game? That's where you start at it. I'm sure they worked on that throughout the week, but so has everyone. But it's going to be important that the Seahawks get that run game going. They got to be able to play action a little bit. That's going to be important. But you got to do something to slow this defensive line down. The Browns gave up 38 points a week ago, so they're vulnerable for sure. And Geno's going to have to find a way to be able to make plays down the field, whether it's with Tyler Lockett at times. And if they do get DK back, get DK Metcalf back, that's going to be important as well. But we have to see a heavy dose of Kenny Hill. I mean, it's extremely important that he gets the football in his hands, and we need a 100-yard rushing game from him in order for the Seahawks to get done what they need to get done as an offense.
Yeah, this is one of these tricky games. I mean, I actually love this game, but you see, like, going to Seattle sometimes, and it's maybe the gray skies, whatever, it can lull a team to sleep. And we'll see if Cleveland wakes up, but we also have to see if the Seahawks wake up. Because, Coach, offensively, you just talked about the need to run the game. Geno Smith has been turning the ball over lately. He's got 3 interceptions the past 2 games, and the Seahawks as a whole have 5 giveaways the past 2 games. They cannot have that against a team like Cleveland, especially on the backside of their 50, to give the Browns a short field in potential conditions. Again, we know Seattle, whatever happens here, there's a fumble right there. Their defense is playing well, but you can't give Cleveland, as you know, Andrew, seen the last 2 games, opportunities on a short field, even with P.J. Walker, quarterback.
The Browns with P.J. Walker are trying to win 3 in a row for the first time since the beginning of the 2021 season. We don't know today about running back Jerome Ford. The thought had been he's going to miss at least this one, maybe next week against Arizona as well, but he practiced on Friday. He's officially questionable. If he can't go, then more Kareem Hunt, but Kareem Hunt's really playing on one leg, and they're going to be playing on that field. Look how good that looks.
In the name of Jim Zorn, Coach.
What? In the name of Jim Zorn.
Argent. Wow. Kurt Warner.
There. That is fantastic. And when you say Kurt Warner, you mean the running back.
Running back Kurt Warner.
The old school.
With a C, Kurt.
Kurt Warner, the Penn State running back. Anyway, that is one of 4 late games. 9 early, 4 late. Another one of the late ones, I think for my money, the game of the day, is in Santa Clara, where the Niners, Steve, have lost 2 in a row. They're heading into their bye. The Bengals are coming off their bye, and Brock Purdy is coming out of concussion protocol. He cleared yesterday after reporting symptoms late Monday night, Tuesday morning.
Yeah, I mean, look, people are talking about being a quick turnaround, but, concussions, different people handle it different ways in terms of how they bounce back. This is important for the 49ers. I know we like to say they've got themselves a good backup quarterback situation with Sam Darnold, but the trust that Brock Purdy has among the coaching staff, Kyle Shanahan, the office, the feel that he has for the game. Now, here we're seeing a pick against Minnesota. This is something where it looked like a miscommunication with the receiver, but that was really the first bad throw pick we've seen from Brock Purdy. Again, the last 2 games, he has been off kilter. He has not looked like the Brock Purdy we've seen. Can he do this against the Bengals defense, Coach, where Lou Anarumo, he adjusts in game as well as any DC and has the personnel against a defensive front. Trey Hendrickson, the Niners aren't going to have Trent Williams, their left tackle again. They're going to put some pressure on Brock Purdy, and we've seen him get hit this season like we didn't see him get hit at the back end of last season.
Coach, how about the Niners defense here? Because they've had trouble getting home with Nick Bosa or whomever, and last week gave up some headline-grabbing explosives as well.
Yes, they did. I mean, not to be able to get to Kirk Cousins, 45 dropbacks and no sacks, that's not the 49ers front. So it's going to be very important in this ball game to be able to start with stopping the run. They got to get back to dominating the line of scrimmage. This is the first player of the game, and the Vikings, a team that does not run the ball very well, open the game with a run and an explosive run. So they've got to get back to dominating the line of scrimmage. Now, this play created a lot of controversy. Kyle Shanahan talked during the week about this call by Steve Wilks, the defensive coordinator, which really bothered me, Andrew, that Kyle would call Steve out publicly about making this zero pressure call right before the half when they had an opportunity as a staff to discuss this. There was a kill play prior to this play where the head coach could have talked to the coordinator once he realized what they wanted to run. But Kyle waited until after the game to point it out. I don't like this call. We should not have made that call in that situation. I struggle with that. Those are the kind of things you like to see handled internally. As coordinators, there are always situations where you like to have a call back here or there. I'm sure there's some times Kyle would have liked to have had a call back along the way. So just disappointed that he would call Steve out like that publicly.
Yeah, it's interesting. You love the candor from the coach, right? We as members of the media love an honest answer. At the same time, sometimes internally, as you said, you would like those honest answers kept behind.
Yeah, and Kyle doesn't do that. Kyle doesn't call people out like that publicly. And had Mooney Ward made that pick, that's a different story right there. Okay, so he might have liked the call then if Mooney Ward made that pick.
Give Jordan Addison credit for, after losing one earlier, ripping it away from Travarius Ward there and getting the long touchdown. All right, follow that game on Game Center here on the NFL channel after we get done. And follow this one as well, because it's about to kick after we get done. Coming up, back live on the field in Washington, where Sam Howell has yet to be sacked today.
Many of the fish down here have big mouths, ready to latch on to any suspecting victims that might pass by.
just zooming right through the water and taking down his prey.
70 points, like a video game. Sharks in the water right now. Tua under pressure, and he's gonna go down.
Success is no easy task.
We just got to start pulling some fish out of the water.
That is an explosive offense right there.
Here is a whale that frightens Miami.
They've got him again!
The team is on the brink of giving up hope. How can these fish flourish?
You're watching NFL Game Day preview. That was interesting with fish and sharks and dolphins and all that. Steve White's Jalen Ramsey is back today. It is only week 8. Didn't think we'd see him this fast.
Yeah, look, he had the meniscus. He's making his season debut. And in this scheme, he is going to be playing a slot kind of hybrid safety, which is good for some of the injuries that they have. Sometimes you may see him outside. But the physicality, coach, that he's going to bring in the run game, maybe more so than the pass game, could help out against the Patriots, who have to run the ball today.
Love those uniforms, too. Don't we love those uniforms? Yeah. They look good. All right, Leslie Frazier, looking at TJ Watt, whose interception last week was just ridiculous here in L.A. You got the Steelers, we got the Jaguars today.
It's going to be a really good ball game. The Steelers are coming off of a defensive game where they came up with the big plays. You mentioned the one that TJ made. Some big stops down the stretch that really turned that game around. So it's going to be important today to be able to deal with that Jacksonville run game with Etienne.
Travis Etienne has more rushing yards than all the Steelers. Like, add them all up. Travis Etienne has more rushing yards than all of them. You're looking live now in Dallas. Matthew Stafford, born in Florida. He says he's a Dallas kid, grew up loving the Cowboys, the Troy and Emmett and Michael and Alvin Harper. He did call out Alvin Harper teams.
How about that?
Yep, all of them. They got to run the ball today. Darrell Henderson is up from the practice squad for the second consecutive week. You mentioned, Coach, Royce Freeman earlier as well. Got to run the ball today without Rob Havenstein at right tackle. Let's make some quick picks. Let's start at the NFC North, where we got the Vikings and the Packers, where, Coach, you are the only one. Go figure, picking the Vikings here. Actually, you expect most people to pick the Vikings, but we're picking the Packers. You're taking Minnesota.
No. I got the Vikings.
Yeah.
Coach
I'm on a Jordan Love boat today. I'm expecting Jordan Love to come out and play extremely well, Andrew, and really get things going. Now, their defense will need to come up with some takeaways, but Jordan, against this Vikings defense that likes to bring pressure, this should be a chance for him to showcase his athletic ability, to be able to run around a little bit and make some plays with his legs.
All right, I need to get my eyes checked here. It says Andrew Green Bay. Steve, you're right. Minnesota, Leslie Green Bay. Okay, so we do have receipts on this one. Got it? Okay, speaking of cool uniforms, what do we think? That's Will Levis, eater of mayonnaise. What do we think of the Titans wearing the Houston Oilers old school uniforms today? What do we think?
Well, I mean, first off, the Love You Blues are some of the sweetest uniforms.
They're great uniforms.
Yeah, and they are formerly the Houston Oilers, but the Houston part is something. But game-wise,
yes, we're all picking the Falcons.
Yes, I am picking the Falcons right here because you saw Will Levis. He's going to start the rookie. The Falcons' defense is one of the best defenses in the NFL, Coach. Believe it or not, Ryan Nielsen comes over from the Saints as their DC, and they've got it working. They're top 10 in almost every major statistical category. They're manufacturing pressure, but that second line, you're seeing their linebackers play so well with Caden Ellis and some other line playing very well. It's going to be a tough sledding for the Titans today.
Absolutely, but we do agree. Those uniforms do look fantastic. Ryan Tannehill inactive, Will Levis there, scheduled to start. Let's pick another one here. Let's go Saints and Colts. What happened to that New Orleans offense? Well, last we saw Derek Carr, he was yelling at people. It was in prime time. Yikes. Today they face an Indianapolis team that is the only team in football, Coach, to score 20 points in every game. We're all taking Indy.
Well, I no doubt, but watching that Saints offense, how dysfunctional they've been over the last few weeks, Derek Carr was brought there to really lead this offense and take them to the next level, and it's been just the opposite. Just to see him and Chris Olave being on a different page and struggling to communicate tells you there's some dysfunction within that offense.
Yeah, Derek Carr said, hey, back in the day, all the quarterbacks used to scream and yell at everyone. I'm not that guy, and that was kind of out of context. Chris and I talked this week. He said we FaceTime for 20 minutes, and they also obviously practiced together. He said they're cool. Okay, we'll see if they dress like a real offense today. Here's what Quincy Williams is dressing like. The Joker. Yeah, all right. I mean, maybe like a decade old, but I think it still works.
Hey, he may be dressing like the Joker, but he plays like Batman. Quincy Williams is out there balling this year for the Jets. And look, I think the Jets defense is going to be too much against this Giants. I know Ty Taylor has settled down the Giants offense a little bit, but the Jets defense, they're just holding this team together while the offense is kind of holding forward. Even though Breece Hall in the offense, you get it going, but I think against the Giants, coach, it's going to be really, really tough struggling against this front especially.
And for the record, we are all taking the Jets there in what is a Giants home game. They no longer give away the Snoopy Trophy that was like a preseason thing years ago. We have the top 3 picks in the draft all today together. Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, and Will Anderson. It's the Texans, it's the Panthers, it's in Carolina, and Coach, we are all taking the Texans.
Yeah, and I like C.J. Stroud. Just some of the things that he's done early in his rookie season. Right now, Bryce probably doesn't have the pieces around him that C.J. does, and that's making a difference. And then the fact that he's only thrown 1 interception for the season, which is really impressive as a rookie, which allows the Texans to be +6 in turnover differential. And on the other hand, the Panthers are -3 in turnover differential. And I think today's game will come down to takeaways. And the way the Texans have played, not giving the ball away, it bodes well for their future.
And the first game after the bye, because Carolina had last week off, that friend of the program, Thomas Brown, their offensive coordinator, will be calling plays. All right, those are our quick picks. Now back to Washington.
This play shall be referred to as the brotherly shove.
Brotherly shove. I kind of like that.
As soon as that ball is moving, you're moving forward, and the quarterback is already pushing.
People were saying, we need to ban this play. It's unstoppable. Don't ban this play. But as soon as you saw those other teams try to do it and fail,
I didn't push enough.
Then I think everybody said, whoa, wait a minute. It's just the Eagles' execution of it that has made it so perfect.
If everybody can do it, everybody would do it.
I love how Nick Sirianni looked at the camera there and said, hey, if anybody could do it, anybody would do it. Here, as we see, Jalen Hurts warming up here as the Eagles try to sweep the Commanders. Coach, let's focus on the Washington offense here for a second. We mentioned how many times Sam Howell is hit, how many times he is sacked. That offense collectively did nothing last week against the Giants.
They struggled, Andrew, in a mighty way, especially on third down. They go 1 for 15 in the National Football League in a game against a defense that had been struggling prior to the Bills game. It just highlights some of the deficiencies that they have on offense. Sam has done a good job at times, but he's still a young quarterback, and you could see at times where he held the football a little bit longer than he needed to, and their offensive line, the deficiencies really showed up on third down as well. So today, they need to be able to stay on the field. So you got to be able to get some first downs and in order to give your team a chance, and today will be big for that.
Against a defense here, Steve, that is going to have Kevin Byard active. They traded for him only a couple of days ago. He's in uniform.
Yeah, look, here this is experience, right? And you're adding him to a secondary that's got Darius Slade, that's got some holes at the safety position. Byard's a guy who's got at least 4 interceptions in 5 of his 7 years. He's a tackling machine, and he's one of those players, a lot like Ty Matthew with the Saints, who shows up at the right minute to make a play, to punch a ball out, to force an interception, something like that. So he's going to be a huge add to that secondary.
All right, we have 90 seconds to go. Time enough to make a Sunday statement, a bold prediction of sorts. White, what do you got?
Cowboys do everything, at least 2 sacks and forcing 1 turnover against the Rams today, Coach.
Oh, that would be big. Okay, the Bears are on the road, Andrew. It's a chance.
They're here, yes.
Yeah, that's, I'm sorry.
Yeah, they're here, yeah.
Tonight, playing the Chargers, and I'm picking the Bears to upset the L.A. Chargers on the road.
If that happens, I am buying a Tyson Bagent jersey, save the tape, in your size. You'll wear it, but I'm going to buy it if that happens.
You got a deal.
Legendary dare, Leslie Frazier picks Bears to beat the Chargers. My Sunday statement is this. I mentioned Will Levis, eater of mayonnaise, earlier. I hate mayonnaise. It's disgusting. It should be made illegal. It's toxic sludge. That said, I think Will Levis will lead the Houston Oilers-dressed Tennessee Titans to a victory today over the Atlanta Falcons. That is my Sunday statement right there.
By the way, who thought egg whites and vinegar would make something good?
I love egg whites, and you know what? I don't mind vinegar, but just leave the emulsions out of my food, okay? Could you please? For Leslie Frazier, for Cynthia Freeland, for Michael F. Florio, for Steve Weich, my name is Andrew Siciliano. Game Center is next. Enjoy Week 8, everybody. See ya.
Hey everybody, welcome to NFL Game Center presented by FanDuel. I'm Patrick Claybon. We got an incredible slate of games today, and Game Center's got you covered with highlights and social reactions for all of them. Get ready for a fun day of football. Enjoy the show.
I don't do this for the paycheck. Step out on the field and hear the crowd.
Hey, we the tone from the first play to the last. Let's go get it, man. Y'all know what time it is. You gotta love it, baby.
I'll be there for love. Well, I'm dreaming of, 'cause it's in my blood. I'm in this for the love.
Throws it to the right, Gesicki, touchdown! Patriots! Go! Pass inside and dragging into the end zone, touchdown!
He's not going to overthink things. He made kicks from 60-plus pregame, guys. We'll see.
We'll find out. Here's Prescott in trouble and sacked on the first play of the game by Michael Hoyt. He had 2 sacks last week. He starts off the game with a bang.
Well, you just heard Aaron talk about Tyron Smith. He was a late scratch. New left tackle. Udoka, he just gets beat. Hoyt does a little jump through. Gets beat quick. Dak Prescott's first read wasn't there. That's something the Rams are going to try to do all day.
and start getting going earlier in games.
Steelers have won all their close games. Pickett open off the hands of Deontay Johnson.
And it was there. Absolutely there. What a call right out of the gate. I know Matt Canada, the offensive coordinator, is catching a lot of heat because they're not scoring many points, but you can't dial one up any better than that. What it comes down to when it's wide open there is the execution.
Spears and Derrick Henry.
Oh, and a miscue on the snap. Willis trying to fall on it, and I think the Falcons pried it loose. They did.
Wow.
And a crescendo of boos from the fans here in Tennessee.
That ball looked a little hot coming back and a little high, but you've got to have your eyes on it, and you've got to be able to make that play. Yeah, it's a little high and to his right, but that's just a disastrous start for Malik Willis because everybody's thinking this happened to him. How could it happen? You can see him reaching to his right, trying to pick that ball up. He was going.
Early on has no answers to this Rams front.
Second and long, four-man rush. Prescott gets rid of it over the middle. CeeDee Lamb, nice catch and move. Lamb turns on the speed to the outside and a first down for Lamb. Good move after the catch, and CeeDee's got 18.
We're going to talk a lot about CeeDee Lamb today, operating out of the slot. Just gets matched up against a linebacker, Roseboom, and just run after catch. I mean, after...
That's last in the NFL. 3rd and 5. Thibodeau coming with pressure, and he's got him. Ball comes out. Jahad Ward scoops it up, and Ward is tackled at the 18 with a penalty marker down.
Enormous play by Kayvon Thibodeau.
The Jets offense is coming off the field, which indicates this should be against the Jets.
Offense. That penalty's declined. It's overplayed. First down, Giants.
Thibodeau knocked it out. Jahad Ward scoops it up, and the Giants are in the red zone on offense.
After a lot of criticism this week locally, but if you watch him, you know that Kayvon Thibodeau has been balling all week long, or all year long. Just goes right around Mekhi Becton, gets that strip sack hand down onto Zach Wilson's throwing arm. Ball comes loose, and Jahad Ward is right there to pick it up. Giants starting the red zone. It's a great way to start offensively.
Fourth and 1. Hill in motion. Tua slinging it near side. It's caught. Jalen Waddle. First down, Miami. They pick up 17 off the left arm of Tua.
Well, the chemistry and the connection is what you notice, whether it's Hill or Waddle. Look at the ball location. You got a defensive player inside, Miles Bryant, and right on.
kickoff coming up.
Yeah, here we go.
Prescott going end zone. Caught for the touchdown, Ferguson.
Great route, great matchup. You see 56 Christian Roseboom. He's the Mike linebacker. 2 high safeties. Ferguson's just going to run right by him, and this is a big-time ball. It's a one-handed stab there by Ferguson. And
coming out of the backfield.
Ritter stepping up in trouble, and down he goes. Sacked at the 10-yard line, and a loss of 5 into the arms of Jeffrey Simmons.
Well, great job by the Tennessee Titans. Getting pressure with 4, playing zone. Now zone, your safeties don't have to drop back very far, so they're right along that line of defense. And
is on hand today. Also gets to see the top 2 picks in the draft this year, including this guy, the number 2 pick, C.J. Stroud, keeping it and getting a first down to the 36-yard line.
Boy, not a huge part of his game to run like that, but it just gives that much more for the defense to think about, and probably had an opportunity to hit John Mechie coming across here. He's like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and give them a little...
Picture perfect.
First down at 10, Downs out of the backfield in motion, but it's Taylor again with the cutback. Taylor, a stiff arm. Taylor on his way inside the 20 and down in the red zone at the Saints 18. 43-yard scamper for Jonathan Taylor.
Oh, and just a zone to this left side of the line of scrimmage, and Jonathan Taylor does the rest. Oh, I love the way he broke free here. My only criticism...
The target. It'll be 4th down. Danny Johnson Looks like he broke it up.
Well, here's Goddard. He's just running a little stick route to the outside. And right there, look at number 6, the Slim Reaper, man. You got to sit right down there. Don't get out of the way. That's a pick play, and you allowed Butler to come underneath that pick. You've got to...
Lost the running back. Minshew keeps the sprint out to Pittman and into the end zone. A Michael Pittman touchdown. His third touchdown of the year and the 50th career touchdown pass for Gardner Minshew gives the Colts a 6-0 lead.
Well, watch Pittman here. He's going to show like he's going to block and then leak out to the flat. Much easier assignment than going in and blocking Cam Jordan. Minshew reading Cam Jordan on that. He knows.
marked it back up, so where it first was. And on 2nd and 3, Brian Robinson is down the sideline inside the 30 of the Eagles.
And I love this. Start with the double teams on the right side of the offensive line and then pull around there with Paul. Nice little at the point of attack, inside out. Drop your hips and bam! Let your running back get to the edge. That's what you got to be able to do, and Brian Robinson needs to be
The Giants, although he did have a touchdown run. Howell, floating one for the end zone, and catch made! It's a Washington touchdown! Terry McLaurin!
Well, what have you been getting them with? You've been getting them with those inside routes, right? Those short routes, those slants, those little quick overs. And there's a little double move right there. Stick on Bradbury. Get over the top. Got about 4 yards of separation at the top of that route. And now go up with strong hands and catch the ball. But that's using what you've called so far, that underneath game, to set up a double move.
Pocket, and he just has to eat the football. Tagovailoa on 3rd and 15 over the middle. That pass is picked, intercepted. It's Kyle Duggar. Back-to-back monster plays from this New England defense. First the Barmore sack, and then it's Duggar who returns it 14 yards. This is just a great job of disguising here by the Patriots. Kyle Duggar is the safety right here. He's playing deep. And then watch, he's just going to drop down low. He's going to drop down low. And I talked about those in cuts for the Dolphins. First, you got to be able to protect and give Jones a chance to throw the football. Jones on 3rd and 4 over the middle. It's caught. Kendrick Bourne, and he strolls in. Touchdown. Mac Jones dropping a dime. 24-yard strike, and Bourne does the rest. Oh, Spiro, what a great job. We talked about protection. Everybody up at the line of scrimmage. The protection is there, and Mac Jones spots
From the Chris Wessling Podcast Studio, it's Around the NFL.
I like this game.
Yeah, I know you do.
Yeah, the Browns.
We all know.
The Browns are in
The
it.
Falcons' defense kind of looks interesting right now.
He hasn't done anything in his career yet, Meg. Let's not act like he's done anything in his career yet.
I know the Titans are a good run defense, but Mixon has been looking a few years younger.
And Greg is looking. He's searching.
I'm about to give up.
Don't they have like an index or a table?
I don't remember.
You look like you're really trying hard.
But that 26-yard sprint he had.
3rd and 7. Lawrence fires. It's complete. And a big one to Ridley. Put it exactly where it needed to be with defenders in the general vicinity surrounding Ridley to the tune of 26 yards.
And Trevor Lawrence had a number of guys to choose from on this route to try and pick up this first down, but he is conscious of trying to get Calvin Ridley going. Excellent pocket. Part of the reason T.J. Watt thinks he was held there by.
Saints in the red zone. It's been a struggle all year. Carr, short. Kamara inside the 10, inside the 5, lunging for the touchdown. That'll fix your red zone woes. Get it into the hands of Alvin Kamara. 18 yards out, and the Saints are on the board.
Well, watch Derek Carr. He's going to have his eyes on this backer right away. At the beginning, boom, Taysom Hill takes him away, and there goes Kamara, understanding this route concept, understanding.
That's the ultimate level of quarterback control.
3rd down. Pressure on Prescott. He's in trouble here, and he's sacked again by Aaron Donald. His 2nd of the game. Donald has the ball at the bottom of that, but I think Prescott was down.
Yeah, Michael Hoyt, though, he's the one who starts this, KB. He wins quick, and that's what forces Dak Prescott to step up in the pocket into the waiting arms of Aaron Donald. You mentioned Donald. He ended up ripping that ball out. I think it came late. Watch Hoyt here off the right side, beating Terrence Steele, the right tackle.